Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my little barb guide here. This is just an update for the build I uploaded the other day, but I made so many changes to the build that I think it requires a little video. So before I go into the gear, so my skill bar, I don't have a basic skill, I only spam double swing. This is usually pretty expensive in terms of fury, but I made it work, okay? Other than that, I run all the shots and rather Berserker for like damage and to activate the helm. And I use iron skin, so this build is always unstoppable, which makes it's just a breeze to play Diablo 4. The moment crowd control effects are basically non-existent anymore because they are way too obnoxious. Let's check out the gear here real quick. Boom, the task cam. Every single stat on here screams double swing. And yeah, the effect is just strong AF. Sadly, this is not even a good roll. Also, a little side note on my gear, this is a solo self-found character, therefore all my gear is garbage. Okay, like every single item you see is crap, because it does not have the better stats, right? I would have to trade for that. And the armor here, iron skin grants unstoppable, so it makes the ability even more OP. The most important part here is 3 to concussion. This makes it work overall, because of the stun from the mace, more potted in the skill tree. Twin strikes, they are okay. I mean, the gloves itself are GG, but my gloves in particular, they are okay-ish. I haven't found any better ones, man. I've spent all my mats to farm Grigor, and yeah, that's the best roll I got. But it's alright. T-boys will like these pants are really good within the build, because as I mentioned a second ago, they're always unstoppable. So this damage buff is just always up. Jens for the boots here. I'm debating if Flicker Step are maybe better, just to reset the ultimate. But on the other hand, the chance to restore primary resource is like really good on those boots. Edgemaster here on the weapon. Insane, obviously insane multiplier. The legendary sword, like another Edgemaster basically. Super important, the mace here. And I'm using Intercom. I have a Uber Unique here. Yeah, for the crit damage. The jewelry is super important, and it's not that easy to get those specific rolls, but they are very important in order to make this work at all. Yeah, before like perfect rings, this is a little bit clunky and you can encounter downtime, but as of now, it's good and it works. So the important one, first of all, one of the rings should have the vulnerable proc. Like these 42% chance to make enemies vulnerable, that's the only source of vulnerable I have within the build, and it's perfectly fine. It's enough. But the important part is resource cost reduction as a roll, and a chance to restore a resource as a tempering. Those two things on both rings. And the aspects here, like one is Windlasher. The Dust Devils do not damage anymore, it's just to activate the Twister Glyph and to have the 13x multiplier. The other one is here, Empowered. Your shout skills generate fury while active. And yeah, there's always a shout active. Even the boots can proc shout, so this is really good for the build, obviously. I have accelerating on the amulet, because the more attack speed, the better with this build. To proc the lucky hit from here, to proc the stuns from the mace, and so on. In terms of power level, if I would play the game for 12 hours a day, this build would end up somewhere at pit 120, which is not too bad. That would put you in the, I think, top 5% of players worldwide. With the current gear, I'm somewhat speed farming tier 70. Just to get materials to upgrade my gear, right? And gradually get better and better and better. The highest I've pushed is tier 97. It was a pain. I was barely capable of killing it. But yeah. Around pit 100 with like a mid gear. With my own build. Like this is not a copy pasta build, obviously. So I think that's fine. The weapon expertise here. I'm using the two-hand mace expertise because it's just the best. I don't know why I did not use this earlier. up to a 10% chance to gain 5 fury when hitting an enemy. And it's basically 10 fury while berserking, and this build is always berserking, so this is really good and helps keep me topped up for having the damage from Edgemaster. The skill tree here. The skill tree here real quick. 1 into whatever to unlock double swing. Like 2 points here are required, right, to unlock the core skills. Maxing double swing, maxing furious double swing for the fury, for the berserking uptime. Maxing those two because they make me tanky. 1 into rallying cry, into strategic rallying cry. This is my main source of fortification. 1 into iron skin, into tactical iron skin. This gives pretty much everything with a click of a button. I get unstoppable because of the aspect from the chess piece. Barrier, heal. Did I forget something? It's like a mini ultimate with the difference I can spam this every few seconds. I have 1 into outburst to unlock tough as nails. I don't do much thorns damage anymore, nor do I. Is this a bleed barb? But this is just there to activate blood rage. It's just there, like if a monster dies, it had bleeding because of this 1 point, right? And then blood rage is active, so it's a cool combo. The most important note in this entire skill tree, like hands down, is concussion. So it says, like in my case, with rank 6, it says a 60% chance to stun enemies. And yeah, it's really, really strong, especially against like pesky elite packs in the pit. I think I could not even clear the pit without this. Okay, like the CC is mandatory. Yeah, 3 out of 3 wall up because it's 15x multiplier against stunned or vulnerable enemies. It's even highlighted. And yeah, everything is vulnerable. Everything is vulnerable because of my role here on the ring. That's how that goes. That's how that all works together. The ultimate here is Wrath of the Berserker. And I have Unconstrained as the keystone passive to even get more damage multipliers. I maxed out Duelist here. The thing with Duelist is I'm not even sure if it works. Maybe I'm tripping. The problem is, like as much as I like Diablo 4, you never know. Right? Like let's be real here. You never know what is bugged, what does work properly, what doesn't. And I think Duelist doesn't even do anything. To be honest. Even though it says I get attack speed while using one-handed weapons. I'm using one-handed weapons with double swing, but who knows. But yeah, that's the skill tree. That's the skill tree. Like even though, like actually I made this for speed farming, okay? I was like, you know what, it's time to max out this, like the Wolf Boy reward track to finally get a Resplendent Spark. That's why I mainly, and for the Goblin event, that's why I mainly swapped to double swing and got rid of my thorn setup. So for actually just a meme build dash speed farming setup, clearing almost a pit 100 with mediocre gear, that's not too bad, man. I'm actually surprised that it performs how it performs. Maybe I'll show you the Paragon board here real quick. I'm running 6 glyphs. I think maxing them is not even that important. But yeah, let's talk about it here for a second. So the first one is vulnerable. Exploit, excuse me, which gives vulnerable damage. The first board here is Warbringer. And I have the territorial glyph here. I also have all the life that there is, I think. Here, tenacity and stuff. I think I have all the life there is. Moving on to the next one. The next is Carnage. This is obviously really good for the build because it says attack speed, lol. The glyph here is Ire for insane damage by berserking bonus. Then, like imagine I would just level this, right? So I did not went up here. Instead I grabbed another glyph. Okay, here real quick. And this one is really important. C thing. I mean the damage is nice for wielding a sword. I'm wielding a sword, but while wielding a sword, you gain 5 fury when killing an enemy. So this really helps keeping the resource topped up, and yeah, have damage from Edgemaster and stuff. So really, really nice. Like sadly, of course, this is useless against the boss unless he spawns a bunch of ads. The next one, I mentioned it briefly before. Here's Blood Rage. This is activated by this 1 point into Tough as Nails. The glyph I'm using here is Martial. So shouts basically have a chance to reset non-shouts, which means Wrath of the Berserker in my case. The next bot here is Decimator. Cool little damage multiplier. Why not? It was on the way to the next bot, so why not? The glyph I'm using here is Twister. Not about the dust of damage no more, just to have another multiplier. And yeah, the aspect on the ring, like Windlasher on the ring, makes it so double swing procs the little twisters, hence the glyph, the damage is online. X multiplier here is online. Yeah, here's more life, here's more life as well. And my last remaining points were enough to grab tenacity here real quick. We have even more life. Yeah, I ended up with 85k life. I'm missing one perfect ruby. For whatever reason, I have so much playtime on this character. It's a big question mark why I'm not having all the, like, it's a big question mark why I'm not having the perfect gems everywhere. But it's alright. So it says, like when I stand still, it says 70k. So it goes up to 400k damage, which is just absolutely bonkers. Against the boss, it requires a certain rotation, which is, in my opinion, super fun. But it's about the stagger bar, okay? In order to deal damage, like, yeah, I can spam this infinitely against trash mobs. Against the boss, it's a little bit tricky. You gotta play a little bit smart, alright? And the trick is to get a huge damage window against the boss. The trick is timing the stagger bar with the cooldowns, preferably, right? Sometimes I only have 1 or 2 buffs up, it's okay too, but if I really wanted the maximum damage output, I would aim for combining the stagger bar with all the buffs. But that's how really to do damage against the boss, right? You see, in terms of damage numbers, it hits for millions. Yeah, it's a way better setup than I had the last time. Yeah, I thought I'd share this real quick. So, yeah, items, skill tree. Of course, there's a planner for anyone who would be mad enough to copy this for whatever reason. But yeah, it's just my own build.